What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Race. If you enjoyed the Angry Birds movie so far, buckle up for more fun, joy, crazy humor, and laughter, since Angry Birds 3 is on its way.
Oh, that was crazy! We could have all died!
Thanks for saving our lives, Mighty Eagle!
Well, you can always count on...
The Angry Birds Movie 2 is quite simply more enjoyable than it should or even needs to be. What could have easily been another slapdash attempt to cash in on the video game IP turned animator franchise, Angry Birds is instead a snappy cartoon sequel supported by non-stop silly humor. That is all due to the director, whose work on the Emmy-nominated Cartoon Network series The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack is reflected in his eccentric and irrelevant approach to his feature film debut. The second installment of the Angry Birds franchise has no illusions about how small it is and makes up for it with gleefully silly yet unexpectedly clever cartoon mayhem. The Angry Birds Movie 2 is surprisingly entertaining because it makes excellent use of its animation to create visual jokes or set pieces. The movie is full of humor that is only made possible by the way animation allows storytellers to tinker with the boundaries of reality. Whether it's Red and Leonard playing tug-of-war with on-screen graphics or putting together their heist team in a very self-aware parody of titles like Suicide Squad, aside from the feathers of the birds, which are lightweight, this universe does not make an effort to be grounded by the realistic textures. Angry Birds Movie 2 doesn't try to hide the fact that it is set in a cheerful candy-colored cartoon universe. The Angry Birds Movie 2 is somewhat surprisingly entertaining despite having a plot that is fairly thin, even by kid movie standards, and featuring more pop culture allusions and song references that you can shake a stick at, from both contemporary and vintage songs.
All right, guys, do not worry. We got this. Red here has got your back.
Overall, it appears that Orman and his crew was aware of the low expectations from the start, and rather than phoning it in, they chose to use the sequel as a justification to demonstrate some true creativity and ingenuity instead. The Angry Birds Movie 2 is a direct sequel to the Angry Birds movie, which was released in 2016. We are confident that Angry Birds Movie 3 will carry on the plot and continue the themes of enmity between the pigs and birds and how they might get past it if there were more serious external threats on the horizon. As a result, we won't keep you waiting much longer as we fill you in on everything we know about the Angry Birds Movie 3.
Welcome to my piggy gadget lab.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere you look, you'll see
Before we get started, let's be clear that there will undoubtedly be another Angry Birds film. Normally, producers take a few months to decide whether to approve a new film, but the Angry Birds movie already comes from a well-known franchise, which is the Angry Birds video game. In addition, the Angry Birds movie earned more than $300 million worldwide, and the sequel brought in $152.8 million. It would be impossible for the producers to decide not to expand the franchise with such a sizable box office potential. In terms of exact release dates, the Angry Birds movie was released in 2016, and the Angry Birds movie 2 was released in 2019. Before we go any further, we wanted to let you know it's time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done it already. Given the release window between the two Angry Birds movies, we assume that Angry Birds Movies 3 will hit theaters as early as 2022. However, 2022 is almost over and the third movie has yet to be seen. Currently, the third film is scheduled for release on November 12, 2024, in celebration of the franchise's 15th anniversary. However, there's always a chance that the process could be sped up. In that case, the new movie might be released in 2023 or by the end of this year, which is, to be honest, highly implausible.
Turn down for what?
Some of the familiar cast members from the first two installments will return for Angry Birds movie. The Angry Birds movie 2 didn't hold back in adding some stellar cast members, so we wouldn't be surprised to see Awkwafina and Sterling K. Brown return in the Angry Birds movie 3, along with the YouTube stars Smush and the Grammy nominee for Latin music, Romeo Santos. Also, the third film's antagonist hasn't been determined, so we aren't too sure who will voice that at the moment. With Sony Pictures Animation on board, we expect that the directors will return to the Angry Birds Movie 3. And we'll also have to wait a little bit more about the Angry Birds Movies 3 cast because the director might actually decide to switch.
Wow,
An engagement ring? Naturally,
The idea of an animated film based on the iPhone game isn't the most exciting one, but the Angry Birds movie was much funnier and flappier than it needed to be. Most possible, the Angry Birds movie 3 will continue the plot where the Angry Birds movie 2 leaves it. The story of the pigs and birds ramping up their conflict as Pig Island is rebuilt is told in Angry Birds movie 2. All of this, though, is put on hold when Zeta, an alien from Eagle Island, decides to invade both islands and capture them by ordering the residents to flee. The evil plan is foiled when the birds and pigs work together and her war base is destroyed thanks to some old-fashioned teamwork. It's clear where the Angry Birds movie 3 might go after several plot lines are established by the film's ending. First of all, Red is shown coming to terms with the fact that he prioritizes himself over others because he feels the need to save the day at all costs and thinks that acceptance comes from others' admiration of his bravery. He does, however, credit Silver and the rest of the team for saving the day by the end of the film, which to his surprise makes him even more popular among his friends. As a result, Red in the Angry Birds Movies 3 is probably going to be changed. In the upcoming movie, we saw Red starting a romantic relationship with Silver, which is likely to develop fully in the next movie, so his personality won't be the only thing that'll be affected. It's possible that the Mighty Eagle and his family will play a bigger part in the Angry Birds Movie 3. The Mighty Eagle, whose real name is Ethan, his rejected lover, Zeta, and their daughter, Debbie, were all prominently featured in the Angry Birds Movie 2, which is notable for spending a lot of time on those relationships. Zeta and Ethan reconcile after Ethan saves Debbie, and the conclusion of the Angry Birds 2, we see them get married. So it's likely their family will have a bigger role among the birds in the upcoming film.
It's on!
But last and not least, the eggs that serve as a nice side plot in the film have finally hatched, and the Angry Birds Movie 3 may feature some new characters. In all honesty, we enjoyed the twist in which the python returned to rescue her own children, and we wouldn't mind seeing the 4 of them in the upcoming movie. And because of this, you need to smash that subscribe button and notification bell so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. There's a lot to be said about a film in which the heroes sneak into a supposedly impregnable location dressed in a giant bird costume resembling a mascot from a particularly shabby minor league ballpark, setting up a potentially bruising fist fight with a massive henchman and resolving it with a break-dance battle. The goofier and more random the movie is, the better it is, and it certainly gets goofier and more random as it progresses. We'll see you in the next video.